Presenting the Iron Crankset Award to Joey Chang.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So happy. I'm so happy to be here to accept this award on behalf of my insanity of a bike ride. Having to submit this bike ride to the Survivor of the Open Path Award, I wouldn't think it would be the craziest bike story to tell. The ride that led me to accept this award was a brutal, leg-taking ride that almost took me out. Riding through a hailstorm and a tornado warning throughout the southwest Madison, Wisconsin, I was put to the test with no shelter in sight. I hold here one of the components that kept me going through the entire bike ride. The steel-cut crankset isn't just an ordinary bike part. It is a bruised and battered part of my machine. It's an S-Ram Rival 1, an inexpensive crankset that I found second-handed at a bike shop on the north side of Madison. I bolted this onto a Cannondale R700 frame that had been converting it to a 1x11 drivetrain. Let me tell you, running a 1x setup with a 42 teeth chainring means you have absolutely no bailout gear when the wind decides to push you backward. You either push through or you fall over. Was that the exact crankset that helped me battle through the crazy ride that I set upon? I wanted to thank the team for giving me the Iron Crankset Award for riding through an unyielding Midwestern storm during my 50-mile ride. As I pedaled out looking for a chill morning cruise, but I rode back fighting a total Midwestern nightmare. I looked at the weather several times before setting out to make sure that I didn't have any surprises in my view. A 50-mile ride through the countryside of Madison and back was the motive, and I set out with 2 full bottles of water in my gels to keep my hunger at bay. This was my first 50-mile ride after the cold winter, so gearing up and being mindful was something I had in my mind. I was steady on the pace during the ride to my pit stop, riding like I usually do at a good clip. Right when I hit my pit stop and took a break to mentally prepare myself to head back home, the storm started to rise up, the tornado sirens started to blare, and the blaring sounds cut through the music in my AirPods like a freezing blade. I was suddenly swallowed by a savage swirling storm. The spookiness that I felt while riding back home required nothing but sheer will. This was when I knew this was a man and machine going against the elements of Mother Nature. I felt the splash of the puddles from my sock skin soaked with each rotation and the awful sound of my chain grinding over the teeth of my crankset. The physical toll was brutal. My lungs were burning from swallowing freezing air. My grip on my handlebars was numb, and my legs felt like they were filled with wet cement. There were moments of my mind begging me to give up. My internal monologue was screaming at me just to pull over, find a safe space, and hide out in the tall grass. I knew I couldn't do it since there was absolutely no shelter for me to hide under. There was no escape if the tornado touched down. There was no escape if hail started to fall. With 25 dreadful miles left to ride back home, I had to put the pedal to the metal. I had to focus entirely on the mechanics in front of me and shut out the panic. I just kept my eyes glued to the crankset, watching it spin to keep myself anchored. I had to keep my pedaling against the elements and hope I was right on course to home. The final miles were up, and the buildings started to become recognizable, the path started to look clear, and the rain started to lift. The surreal feeling of it making closer to home through a treacherous storm was profoundly fulfilling. Surviving the elements while biking through required resilience, determination, and maybe double checking a radar app before leaving home. After the ride, I took my crankset off as a symbol to remember a moment like this where I felt life and death at the same time. It helped open my eyes to the power of determination and the gaining will, the will to fight through what feels impossible. It helped me realize that even though there is rain, as long as you're cranking away, you'll no longer feel scared of the storm ahead of you. I would like to thank the Madison Bike Community for accepting this award, as it is an honor to share a story that I will forever remember. Thank you.